Hi, I'm Jen Spencer, and this is Jen Spencer's 10-Minute Book Club. Happy spring, everybody. It's a great day where I am, so I hope it's nice and warm where you are too. Tonight we have an amazing author. Her name's Meg Easton, and she is wildly popular, and her books are so fun. I know you're going to love hearing from her. Remember, if you ask a question or leave a comment in the comment section below, you'll automatically be entered to win either an ebook copy or a print copy of Meg's book, How to Not Fall in Love with the Boy Next Door. I hope I got that right. And be sure to go to my website, jenspencerbooks.com, and sign up for my newsletter because you'll be able to download a free copy of Dandelion Meadows Christmas Kisses, which is just a really fun Christmas novella set in a small town in Idaho. And so now I'm really excited for you to meet Meg Easton. Meg, thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you. It's really a privilege to interview you, and I've admired all of your work. And so I would love it if you would tell the readers a little bit about yourself and your books.
Okay. Maybe a little bit about how I started into writing.
Yeah.
A lot of authors say they basically came out of the womb with a pencil in hand and started writing. I was not that way. It took me a lot longer to figure it out. In fact, my husband was the one who figured it out first, and he kept on telling me I should be a writer. And it's like, you should write a book. I think you'd be really good at it. And I'm like, what even makes you think that, like, I didn't even get how that even popped in his head. I mean, I've always been very creative, but mostly like creating physical things, not worlds. But I guess, if you're supposed to be a writer and you read enough books to your and I read a lot of books to my kids too, eventually you figure it out. So I started writing in 2008, in that magical short little time period when all three of my kids were in elementary school at the same time. And that's when I wrote my first book, and I realized what an incredible feeling it is to be able to create an entire world and everything in it using nothing more than the thoughts in your head.
Yes, and
Um,
people
and
behave
then
exactly the way you want them to.
yes, and then I read that book that I wrote to my kids, and that's when I went, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life, is to write books, and to create those worlds and the characters in them. And so I started writing in 2008. I kind of jumped in with both feet, and just went to every writers conference I could find, went to every class, and I read every book. In 2011, I got an agent. I started out writing middle grade, probably because that's what I was reading to my kids every night. Um, and then sold my first book to Random House shortly after that. And anyway, that was a really great experience. The first book landed on a bunch of state lists, and I got to go to schools all over the country to speak to students and stuff like that. And that was an incredible experience, and I really, really loved it. Then I started,
What's your first book about? It's a middle grade.
it was middle grade, and it was written
Okay.
under the name Peggy Eddleman, and
Okay.
it is a post-apocalyptic adventure.
Wow. So
Um,
cool.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I really, really enjoyed it. But then I started to get wanting to write for adults. And one of the things I really loved about every middle grade book that I wrote was creating a small town and the community who lived in that town and all the traditions with the community. And so that transferred really well into sweet romance. And so I started writing sweet romance and romantic comedies in 2018. I thought I would want to like go back to middle grade, or do both, or switch a little bit. And I haven't. I love writing sweet romance and romantic comedies, and I kind of haven't wanted to go back since then. It's I think this is where I was meant to be. So I write a lot with unique character or unique towns and fun characters, and I love all of my books have humor in it. But then I write romantic comedies too that have a lot more humor in them. And I love that humor aspect as well.
Yeah, I love that too. Romance and humor, those are my 2 favorite things to put together in a book, so well, that is
Definitely.
wonderful. So is Random House have they published your romances?
Nope. No, I do self-publishing on all of my romances.
Okay.
My editor was strictly for kids, my agent is strictly for kids.
Wow, okay. Good to know, that's really interesting, and so you found, obviously, a lot of success self-publishing.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think
Oh,
I've
that's
got 18 or 19 books out now.
wow, since 2018?
Mhm.
Wow, that is fast, you're fast.
It does never feel fast.
I'm always jealous of fast writers, but it's okay. We all have our own path and our own place, but I think that's wonderful. Well, so tell us about this book that we're talking about today.
Okay, that book is this, and it's probably reversing it. I don't even know.
It's not.
How not to fall for the guy next door. Um, this series is about 4 women who hadn't previously known each other who move into an inn using it as an apartment. They all have reasons not to fall in love, so they make a pact, a no falling in love pact. And then, of course, they each kind of find the one guy who compliments them so well and they fall in love. Um, this book was the first book that I wrote that had neighbors in it. And it was so fun to have them close where they could peek over the fence, see each other at different times. That inn it was owned by her aunt, and she would spend summers there. And right next door to it was this guy's grandparents' house. So he would be over there, and they kind of were friends as they were kids, but hadn't seen each other for a long time. Her aunt passed away, left her the inn. She didn't want to run it as an inn, so she just uses it as an apartment. Has friends living there in each of the rooms, and he has bought the grandmother's house, and so they had some funny. They knew each other as kids when you're going through some awkward phases, and then there are some awkward meetings between the two of them. The very first one, when she didn't realize that he was her childhood friend, bumping into him in the grocery store involving blueberries, kind of funny scene. So it was so great to have that chemistry of having known each other before and then meeting each other as adults and then seeing each other, having them right next door to you kind of makes for other um, run-ins with each other that you might not get in, other circumstances. So
Right.
it was a lot of fun. I'm writing romantic comedy right now. So this book actually came out about 2 years ago, but since I'm going back to romantic comedy again, I thought it would go be good to go back to my romantic comedy roots.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that is a great trope, kind of the girl next door, but also you've grown up together, kind
Well,
of.
I
Readers, be sure and check that out. It's how to not fall in love with the boy next door. And what's the series called?
just how to not fall. So each of the books start out with how to not fall. The next one is for the wrong guy, for your best friend, for your ex.
Oh, I love that. So, so cute. Oh, those are darling titles too. Okay.
Thank you.
Definitely need to read those. Okay, well, we're almost done. So I just kind of do some rapid fire questions. So, what is your favorite romantic movie?
I don't watch tons of romantic movies because when I watch movies, it's with my husband and he's not a
He
fan.
doesn't
And when I
like.
have time on my own, I read books. But one of my favorite ones that I've watched recently is The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and
Oh,
Channing Tatum,
yeah.
which I thought was so much fun. I'm not a big fan of rewatching movies, but I think I've seen that one 3 times
Really?
because it was such a great romantic comedy and I just laughed all the way through it and thought it was so great.
Yeah, it was totally I really liked that movie too, and I don't know, I don't read reviews, but I know I don't think it did super well at the box office, but I remember thinking, "This is a very underrated movie because it was just really cute." And Sandra Bullock, I mean, she's just my favorite. I
Plus, she
think
was an author, so that was fun.
that's right, kind of like Romancing the Stone, do you remember that
Mhm.
old movie? Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so cute. One of my favorites ever is, While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's where I just fell in love with Sandra Bullock because she's so cute on screen. So,
Oh, I agree.
that's great. Okay, so what's your favorite romantic book?
Um, One that I also read more than once was Mistletoe by Whitney Deneen and Melanie Summers.
Never
There
heard
it's
of
the whole series is text. There's word text in the title somewhere, and it's usually something like some miscommunication over text. And it I love the whole series, but that last it was a Christmas book, and I loved it. I loved everything about that book. I thought it was great.
Wow, I have never heard of that. It's a contemporary?
Uh-huh. It's a
Okay.
romantic comedy.
Wow.
Mistletoe instead of
Great.
mistletoe.
Great. Yeah, I love that.
It
Okay.
was fun.
That's
I
really
liked it
good
a
to
lot.
know. And but I also, I think there's so much pleasure in reading a well-written book. Don't you
Oh,
think?
yeah.
Just
Uh-huh.
whatever genre it is, I just love sitting down and just reading beautiful
Yes,
words. Anyway, so, well, that is so
definitely.
great. Okay, here is the last question. This is what I ask everybody. If you're stuck on a desert island, would you rather have a lifetime supply of chocolate or toilet paper?
I figure nature provides its own lifetime supply of toilet paper, so I'm gonna go for the chocolate.
At least make your stay pleasant on the island, right? Good. Well, that's
Um,
good to know. Okay. I like hearing everybody's answer to know how they think. So, well, readers, be sure and check out how to not fall in love with. Okay, you're gonna have to tell me the
okay, how
title.
to not fall for the guy next door.
How to
Some of my
not
books have
fall.
really long titles.
I
This
love
is
it.
one of
Well,
them.
I also write Amish romances under Jennifer Beckstrand, and um, some of my last ones are, really long. The Amish Quilt Maker's Unexpected Baby. And in fact, that one was nominated for an award. And I went to the banquet and they put it up on screen and the person read the title and people just laughed. Like, okay, yeah, it's too long. But I love that. That's great. Nothing wrong with it.